Colleagues, my name is Senator Professor Anthony Ane. I represent Ebonyi State, Ebonyi South, Ebonyi State. I rise to move that the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 13th March 2025 are correct records of what took place that day and so should be adopted. I so move.
Senator Anthony Yaro, you may wish to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Distinguished Senator Anthony Siako Yaro, representing the excellent people of Gombe South, Gombe State. I rise to second the motion moved by Professor Ani in adopting the votes and proceedings of March 13th, last Thursday, that being the true reflection of what happened in the chamber, and I was duly present. Thank you, Mr. President.
Those in favor of the motion for the adoption of the votes and proceedings of our last sitting as moved by Senator Professor Anthony Ani and seconded by Senator Anthony Yaro, please say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. The votes and proceeding of the 10th day of March 2025 is hereby adopted. Announcement. Okay. Senator Mukail Adotokumbo Abiru. Invitation to my daughter's wedding ceremony. I am delighted to inform you that by the grace of Almighty Allah, my beloved daughter, Fadikemi Aminat Abiru, be getting married to her fiancé, Olanuwaju Farouk Onanuga. As my family prepares for this special occasion, it is my singular honor and pleasure to invite Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues to celebrate with us. The details of the wedding ceremony are as follows. Sunday, 31st March 2025, venue Eco Hotel Main Hall, Lagos, time 3 p.m. Your presence at this joyous occasion with great honor and a reflection of the bond we share. While thanking you for your usual support and best wishes, accept always, Mr. President of the Senate and my distinguished colleagues, the assurances of my highest regards and best wishes. Yours faithfully, Senator Mukail Adetukumbo Abiru. Come on.
Distinguished colleagues, I'm sure the DSP, have you taken the announcement on IFTA? Okay. Just to inform you that there will be breaking of fast with the Senate leadership today. All of us today at the Senate Guest House at Maitama. I think this is Senator Alero. The time is 6:30 or 6:30. Assuming we are ordered by sharp 6:30. So, it will be preceded by the normal Muslim prayers before, and Come again. I've never known Senator Nawo to be somebody that interrupts an elder, Senator. So let me say that the interruption of the elder to the elder is noted. In line with the activities of this holy month of Ramadan, the President of the Senate and the leadership of the Senate invites all distinguished senators to an iftar breakfast schedule as follows. Tuesday, 18th day of March 2025, time 6 p.m. This will be at the official guest house of the Senate, number 22 Yesiram Street in Maitama. Do I say come one, come all? I'll be there before you. Siri, don't look for my trouble. The staff and students of Police Children's School, they Abuja, just did a parade honor for me outside before I came here. I congratulate you for your training. I welcome you to the Senate Gallery to observe today's proceedings. Of course, I prayed for you. Now I just wish you journey mercies back to your school and Almighty Allah's blessings and protection throughout your tenure in school. Congratulations. You may be seated. We also have the staff and students of Unique Standard Bearers Montessori High School in Kobo, Abuja, who are in the gallery to observe today's proceedings. May God be with you and take you back safely. And I wish you fruitful observation of today's proceedings. We have also the staff and students of Oviaju God's Wisdom School in Dutse, who are in the gallery in their numbers. Dutse Bauma in Abuja. They are in the gallery to observe today's proceedings. I wish you fruitful observations and God's mercies on your way back. You may be seated. Thank you. We have also the staff and students of Steve East Wisdom Spring International School, New Yanya, in Nasarawa State, who are in the gallery to observe today's proceedings. May God bless you. I wish you fruitful observation of today's proceedings and journey mercies of school. You may be seated. Distinguished colleagues, correspondence from the President. This is dated 14th of March 2025. Distinguished Senator Akpabio GCON, President of the Senate. Senate Chambers, distinguished Senate President, request for confirmation of appointment of commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in compliance with provisions of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. I am pleased to forward for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of the following 5 nominees as resident electoral commissioners in the Independent National Electoral Commission. The first name is Omar Yusuf Garba, representing Kano State. We have Saad Omar, representing Bauchi State. Chukwemeka Ibesiako, representing Anambra State. Omar Mokhtar, representing Borno State. This one is a reappointment. And then you have Dr. Johnson Alalibo Sinikiem, representing Bayelsa State. The distinguished Senate is invited to kindly note that this letter, which supersedes my earlier one, reference Presidency 134/2, dated 12th day of March, is occasioned by my consideration and approval of the Commissioner from Borno State, Omar Mokhtar, for reappointment for a second term. While hoping that the Senate will consider and confirm the nominees in the usual expeditious manner, please accept, distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This supersedes all other correspondences on these INEC commissioners, and therefore we refer it to the Committee on Electoral Matters to return back to us in 1 week.
Sani Musa.
Any petitions? Yes. Senator Cyril Fasu.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Cyril Fashi. I represent the good people of Ekiti North. I have a petition from Honorable Barrister Amechi Nwoha, a member of National Assembly Service Commission. The petition is self-explanatory, and we need to dispense with this petition in view of the screening of members that we are going to do today. Mr. President, I appreciate if I'm permitted to lay the report, the petition. Thank you, sir.
Proceed to lay the petition. Cyril, is the petition in court? No. Okay. So the petition is hereby referred to Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate in 4 weeks.
Petition. Petition. Petition, Mr. President.
Proceed.
Distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Neda Emas, Chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition. I have two petitions, Mr. President, before us today. First is petition from Mr. Osita Uwanjide and Mr. Ju Wanchuku on behalf of the members of the Nigerian Association of Patent and Proprietary Medicine Dealers Association, Lagos Island Zone, against National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control for alleged continued closure and sealing of their members' shops and parking stalls at Iduaka, Lagos Island, Lagos State. They are praying for the reopening of the shops and their parking stores. The second petition, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is a petition from Barrister Isinye against the Inspector General of Police for alleged illegal occupation, vandalization, and destruction of the hostel of the Royal Palace and properties valued at the sum of 2 billion naira, belonging to the family of His Royal Highness, late Okuku David Orok, Essien, in Udim local government areas of Akwa State. This petition prays for of compensation of 2 billion to rebuild the palace, another 2 billion naira as damages to the royal palace, and a written apology from the Inspector General of Police. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I seek your kind permission to present these two petitions before you.
Do you have the petitions in court?
Not to my knowledge.
Any of the petitioners?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. President.
So no legal encumbrance?
No, Mr.
You may proceed to lay the petitions.
Thank you.
Yes, dismissed Senator.
Mr. President,
my name is Senator Abdulhamid Malam Maduri, representing Jigawa Northeast. I have a petition here against Kingdom of Morocco on the illegal arrest of the Nigerian citizen Alhaji Khalid Yusuf, passport number B50927386, over unfounded allegation buzzing on social contract. Mr. President, if you allow me, I would like to lay the petition before presenting it.
Is there any legal encumbrance?
None.
You may proceed. from distinguished Senator Neda. The two are hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate in 4 weeks.
Point of order.
Point of order. Mr. President. Point of order.
The petition from distinguished Senator Adori is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to revert to the Senate in 4 weeks.
Point of order.
Mr. President. Point of order.
Point of order.
Yes, since Senator Aneka Mbasi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Aneka Mbasi, President of Akwa Ibom North. Mr. President, I'm coming under Order 41 and 51. With your leave, may I proceed?
We don't know what the petition is all about.
It's a motion on annexation of Nigerian mangroves, islands, waters, and its crucial Republic of Cameroon. Yes, sir.
Yes, so just try to repeat it.
The motion on legal annexation of Nigerian mangrove islands, waters, and its oil by the Republic of Cameroon.
The distinguished Senator Bassi had mentioned to me that there is an incursion in the territorial waters of Nigeria by the Republic of Cameroon, and they are causing disruption of fishing and illegal mining of crude oil and all. I think this amounts to serious economic impediments to Nigeria. So, is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to proceed with the petition? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I remain Aneka Mbasi, Akwa Ibom Northeast. I rise with utmost sense of responsibility to move the attention of this Senate to the legal annexations of Nigerian mangrove islands situated at the Fiat Inbo local government area of Akwa Ibom State by the Republic of Cameroon. This noting that the lands in focus were not part of the territory ceded to the government of Cameroon by the 1913 Anglo-German treaties and the International Court of Justice decision of October 2002. As such, the encroachment into these territories is not only legal, but has led to huge economic loss of over 2,560 oil wells and gas revenues, which ought to accrue to Nigeria. Also, very pathetically, it is a monumental national embarrassment that foreign laws are imposed by the Cameroon dams on Nigerians living in the 16 Nigerian ancestral homes and villages and the same mangrove islands. Hence,
I'm compelled to move this motion in the following terms. That the Senate observes that the mangrove islands and waters situated at the geographical location called a Fiat Inbo local government area of Akwa Ibom State, marking the terminal end of the Gulf of Guinea down sea to the Atlantic Ocean coast, is currently under the administrative control of the Republic of Cameroon, illegal and contrary to the 1913 Anglo-German Treaties, International Court of Justice judgment of October 2002, and Section 12, Sub 1, Sub 2, Sub 3 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. Aware that the islands and waters are economically important to this region, as it holds copious fishing routes, approximately over 2,560 oil wells, as well as gas revenues that should accrue to the Nigerian government, but which are lost to the Republic of Cameroon as a result of illegal annexation of these highlands by the Republic of Cameroon. The Senate is further concerned that Nigerians living in the said mangrove islands, comprising about 16 villages and ancestral home, in an area recognized and provided for the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, and which was not ceded to Cameroon Republic by the 1913 treaties and the International Court of Justice judgment. Be uncomfortable with the Cameroon soldiers in their communities, even when no Cameroonian lives in that community, took to an open protest. See Punch newspaper of Saturday, 2016, page 19. Further aware that 2 months after the protest of March 2016, Cameroon President Mr. Paul Biya, during his visit to Nigeria on the 5th of May 2016, inquired from the former President Muhammadu Buhari about Nigeria's position on Bakassi Peninsula and the Nigerian-Cameroon hydrocarbon joint ventures, and was informed by Mr. President Buhari that Nigeria had accepted the International Court of Justice judgment, but that the technical aspects of international waters, which is the embodiment of the said Nigerian mangrove islands and waters, is yet to be fully determined. See Vanguard newspaper of 5th of May 2016, page 8, and Leadership newspaper, 5th May 2016, page 6. Further worried that the continued expansionist policy of the Republic of Cameroon after independence of our country by illegal annexation and vigorous pursuit for the 16 villages of Nigerian mangrove islands, waters, and oil constitute a breach of international laws, an affront of Nigerian territorial integrity, and unlawful exploitation of Nigeria's economic resources, as well as a national embarrassment. The Senate recalls that Resolution 16, Sub 1 of the first session of the Assemblies of Head of and Government of the Organization of African Unity, held in Cairo from 17th to 21st of July 1962. All African nations, including the Republic of Cameroon, pledged to respect the borders of other African states after achievement of national independence. Cognizant that the Anglo-German treaties of 11 March 1913, the mangrove islands firmly within the Nigerian territory, they lay west of the Rey River and serves the official border of the line between Nigeria and the Republic of Cameroon, as reaffirmed by International Court of Justice judgment on the 10th day of October 2002. Senate further observed that although the International Court of Justice had ordered both Nigeria and Cameroon draw sovereignty over areas that were not entitled to under the 1913 Anglo-German treaties, which resulted in Nigeria hurriedly ceding over 32 villages from Adamawa to Lake Chad areas to the Republic of Cameroon. Cameroon Republic has continued to hold up Nigerian territories to ransom, thus adversely affecting the people and the economy of the entire nation. Therefore, Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, the Senate resolved to set up a committee to investigate the illegal annexation of Nigerian mangrove highlands at the Fiando by the Republic of Cameroon and report with necessary recommendations as shall be directed by the Senate. I hereby move the motion for consideration and adoption in the Nigerian Senate. Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. I so move.
Senator Neda Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Neda Emas, representing the South Senatorial District. Mr. President, as I stand to second this motion with sense of responsibility, may I also be allowed to make some comments? For me and as for this Senate, I presume, it's bad enough Nigeria ceded such amount of territory to Cameroon, something we all feel regret. That with that, Cameroon is still intruding into our territory. It's something that I consider annoying. And there are certain flashpoints in our country. And I think this is one of those flashpoints that Nigerian government should pay serious attention to. I don't know why by now, given this issue between Nigeria and Cameroon in these border areas, in this mangrove area where we have resources, why we haven't actually considered having an army stationed in such places to protect not just our assets, but to protect Nigerians who have every right to live fully in their ancestral homes and villages. So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I thank the mover of this motion, and so respectfully I second this motion, and ask that we all should rally around this motion so that at least we can send a strong message to our neighbor Cameroon that enough is enough of this incessant intrusion into our territories. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Sierra Dixon.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Senate and my distinguished colleagues. First, I would like to begin my remarks by commending the mover of this motion for this very serious development to the attention of this Senate, and through the Senate to the entire nation. I would also like to commend you, Mr. President, and the Senate for properly exercising the judgment in determining that this matter is serious and it's urgent enough to be discussed here and now as we are doing. Having said so, Mr. President, we all in this chamber and in this country are aware of the sad developments arising from the judgment of the International Court of Justice some years back and the Green Tree Agreement made pursuant thereto, and the steps that of most in this country, and particularly those of us in that area, Nigeria took steps, in effect, and withdrew sovereignty, leaving a lot of communities, indigenous communities of Nigerians, residing in local government areas recognized under the constitution of this country. They were left stranded in Akwa Ibom State and in Cross River State. Mr. President, you were not part of the delegation last week of the leadership of the Niger Delta to the president. But I know you must have been briefed. And let me inform us that in that interaction with the president, amongst other things, the plight of our communities and indigenous people in Akwa Ibom and Cross River, suffering in that area, was brought again to the attention of the president to call on the Nigerian authorities to come to their rescue. And I think what is happening this morning is an extension of that concern. I know that a number of colleagues here rightly will be asking, these communities and areas that this motion is drawing attention to, were they part of the ICJ judgment and the subsequent Tree agreement? I think those are issues that call for closer examination of the facts and calls to question the need why the Senate must direct an inquiry so that we can determine, firstly, in the course of that inquiry, whether these communities and these people were affected by that ICJ judgment and the Green Tree Agreement and the subsequent withdrawal of sovereignty by the federal government of Nigeria. But let me say also that even if communities were affected, for those who are affected by the ICJ judgment and the agreement that were entered into, the agreement itself and the judgment, if you read closely, imposes duties and obligations on the government of Cameroon and also on the Nigerian government. The people are yet to see these benefits or support from either the government of Nigeria or the government of Cameroon. As a matter of fact, a number of them, rightly speaking, can be considered, unfortunately, stateless. Stateless. Whereas the security officials and people from Cameroon treat them anyhow. Government of Nigeria, too, has also abandoned them. And come to think of it, in their own ancestral lands. These are people who are indigenous to those areas, who were there before the formation of Nigeria in 1914, the amalgamation, and they were there before even Cameroon came into existence. But as a result of interplay of international forces beyond their control, they are left abandoned. No one considers them as citizens. No one owes legal responsibilities to them. And it cannot be so. And it is to that extent, President and my dear colleagues, that I fully associate myself with the motion and the prayers and request that an inquiry be set up so that we can interfere, we can talk to our Nigerian authorities, visit the areas, and then see for ourselves whether these were part of the ICJ and the Green Tree Agreement. And if they were not, then it means that they are part and parcel of Nigeria, nationally speaking, according to international law. And if they are, then the Nigerian government has to stand up for them, the Nigerian government has to fight for them. These are areas that some years back, the former head of the state of this country, General Abacha, may God bless his soul, knew what to do, showed commitment to the territorial integrity of our nation, and deployed troops to protect. Nations fight for land, nations fight for resources. And the Nigerian government must stand up and defend the people and the land and the territory that is in question. Even if we make a determination that they were covered by the ICJ agreement, ICJ judgment, and the Green Tree Agreement pursuant to it, there are still obligations. The Nigerian government must still show itself as a responsible state power to protect the interests of the communities and the people in Akwa Ibom and in Cross River states, to take up those issues with international bodies and specifically with the government of Cameroon, and ensure that they are given all succor and support that they are entitled to under municipal law and also under international law and treaties. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, permit me to commend The former Speaker of Akwa Ibom State, and now the Senator representing Akwa Ibom Northeast. He shows that he's a good representative of his people, because a representative needs to always move in, find a solution when the interest of his people is being touched, when the territorial integrity of his country is compromised. I thank you for bringing this very, very important motion. Mr. President, without much ado, Senator Dean has said it all. He has said it all. What we need to do is to move into action. The relevant agencies of government and the Ministry of Justice should move into action to find out the truth about this matter. We cannot wait for a minute to deal with this matter. We're talking about our territorial integrity. People are being not maltreated in their own land. Foreign countries coming in, over crossing the boundary, coming to our own nation to maltreat our people. This cannot be accepted. So I want to call on Ministry of Justice, Boundary Commission, and all other agencies involved to fully move into action so that we can find out the truth about this matter. We're in an era of technology. We can find out these boundaries without much hassle. We can deal with this matter as soon as possible. We can't wait for a minute. These people need to be protected. They are Nigerians, as in this motion. All I want to do is that I'm asking for the support of this August Senate so that we can pass this motion and calling on the relevant body, relevant agency, Ministry of Justice, to move in to make sure that this matter is dealt with decisively. I should submit, Mr. President.
Dismissed Senator Victor Ome.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I've gone through the motion fully, and what I can find out is of greater substance in the motion is that there is a judgment already on this disputed area where the Cameroonians have annexed illegally. From the Anglo-German Treaty of 1913, which was referred to in this motion, the International Court of Justice judgment delivered in 2002. It is not ambiguous that the Mangrove Islands is part of Nigeria. Therefore, I believe that what we should be doing is how to enforce the judgment of the International Court of Justice. There, in the Mangrove Islands, are Nigerians, not Kenyans. So there is no way our people should leave it like that, particularly as Nigeria has complied with the Anglo-German Treaty of 1913 in ceding 32 villages between Adamawa and Lake Chad. So why are we ignoring this oil-rich part of Nigeria that the Anglo-German Treaty ceded to Nigeria and backed by the judgment of the International Court of Justice? So we should, to enforce that judgment, there are ways of enforcing judgments. We cannot be beneficiaries of a judgment and leave it. The other people will continue to exploit our resources in the region. So I believe, like the DSP said, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice should seek a way of enforcing this judgment delivered by the International Court of Justice in favor of Nigeria as it affects Mangrove Islands in Akwa Ibom State. So this is my contribution. Let's act fast and not allow that to continue. 2002 to today is 23 years. Yet, we have not taken steps to take back our land that the Court of Justice has delivered its judgment firmly that Mangrove Islands is part of Nigeria. So the negligence is on our part. I've not seen anybody who will be beneficiary of a judgment and allow it to lie like that. And these things will continue. So this is my contribution, Mr. President. Let us act fast and recover our territory. With 2,560 oil wells in this region, it's not a small asset. It's an important part of Nigeria that we shall do everything both diplomatically and legally to recover and keep Cameroon out of it completely. So submit. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Senator Nengi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Center of Bauchi State. Mr. President recalled in 2014, I brought a motion pursuant to the International Court of Justice decision of October 2002, and which was co-sponsored by the then Senate leader, Barrister Ndoma Eva, flatly calling on Nigeria to reject the International Court's decision, because going through the report of the decision, one could clearly see that it was a decision taken in flagrant disregard for the interests of this country. And one of the reasons why we read that motion at that material time was because the Nigerian representation was sluggish, wasn't very strong, and because the Cameroonians had gotten what they did not ask by the Court of Justice decision, October 22, you could see clearly two things. One, the Nigerian sovereignty is not as important as it should by succeeding governments. The security of a nation is something that is guarded with everything necessary. And therefore, 23 years after the judgment, we continue to see part of Akwa Ibom and to some extent part of Elsa, as it doesn't matter. The Kasif Peninsula, part of Cross Rivers, the Kasif Peninsula has been, the indigenous have been running helter-skelter so many times in the National Assembly with regard to villages being taken over by Cameroonian authority. But as I stand today, nobody has done anything to even attempt to show this peninsula, its indigenous, that they are Nigerians. This is not about Akwa Ibom or Cross River or Ibelsa or Niger Delta. It's about Nigeria. It's about our own people, that we have not gone this far to protect the interests of our people. Does not, for me, surprise me, because we have treated our people with all dignity that they deserve. Imagine 2,250 hours, 560. This is a combined wealth of Ghana, of Niger, and Equatorial Guinea put together. And because we are really interesting people, it behoves some imagination that you could clearly lose such a number of wealth. And with the ravaging poverty in our country and insecurity, yet we're paying attention to it. Disregard the issue of the material being. What about the human beings that are there? What about them? What's their future? What's the future of their children? They have suffered so much for 23 years. They have never believed they have a government that can protect them. Mr. President, this is not a small matter. I believe this motion is not enough for a public discussion. The leadership of the Senate, led by you, Mr. President, should take this matter to the President Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu, Get him briefed. Let him get the experts, the diplomats. Also look at the International Court of Justice judgment of 2002. We know why that judgment was given against Nigeria. We were trying to tell the world that we are a good boy, that we are a good country, and for with exchange of fire, we just give up our inherited homelands. And there are no tangible reasons why we did what we did. And when we were invited in the leadership in 2014 by the then President Goodluck Jonathan at the Villa, I was there. The entire leadership of the National Assembly was called. The leaders from Nigeria were called. The experts who represented Nigeria were called. And President Jonathan asked them to lay their positions. Believe me, they could not do the needful. Those experts somehow were told not the interest of the and sovereignty of this country. And it was alarming. Jonathan Hans, as a president then, because of the diplomatic bottlenecks, his hands were tight. He knew the truth. We all knew the truth. But at that material time, we adjourned the meeting Senate, and we were told that the government about the peninsula, the Kasi Peninsula. 23 years after, at least 19 years after that particular meeting in 2014, where we are, and these people keep annexing. We are not too big. We are not as big as Mali. We are not as big as Mauritania in terms of land mass. But see how they jealously guard their territories. But because we think we're a divided people, you need to come from Akwa Ibom to feel the pains. And that is false narratives. It's a false narrative. What happens to a person in Akwa Ibom, in Cross River, affects all parts of this country. And that is the wrong side of history that we have not been able to imbibe and enforce to our citizens. And see whatever happens in the nick and cranny of the country affects us. I'm from Ningi, far away from Akwa Ibom, but I feel the pains because what of it happens to me. Imagine I wake up one day and go to Ningi, my village, and I'm told that it's been annexed by gendarmes. How do you feel? What do I tell my children? What do they tell their own children? What is the future? So, President, I believe this is an important step, a very important step to reclaim our lost sovereignty. So far, the entire African subcontinent think we are just a lame duck country. The leadership we are purportedly said we are leaders is just a mere dialogue. It's a mere giant of Africa. That Africa is the cornerstone of our foreign policy shall further be revisited because the cornerstone of Nigerian foreign policy is Africa. That means whatever is Africa is our priority. And that is an area too we need to revisit. Yes, we are the leaders. Yes, we are more populous. We have not been given dues by some African countries who should have ordinarily behaved that we are there for them in their good days, in their bad days. So, Mr. President, I believe this is a timeless motion, and it should not just be any other motion. This motion should be taken with all seriousness. And before the end of the week, we will want the leadership of the Senate. We will want to call the leadership of the Senate and get a report of their meeting with the President and Commander-in-Chief on this matter. It is important by next week we'll get a report from you, Mr. Senate President, that you have met with the President and put in motion in alleviating this crisis. Otherwise, thank you.
Yes, distinguished Senator Brian.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senate President, my distinguished colleagues. My name is Jimo Ibrahim Folosho, representing Ondo South. Mr. Senate President, this is all important motion that center on our sovereignty. Complaint before Excellency, that the sovereignty of Nigeria is challenged by Cameroon. And as a matter of fact, we need to report this to the United Nations because the convention under which the law of sea is, which we sign, is under the United Nations Convention. The material fact here, Mr. President, is about the law of the sea and the nautical mile of engagement, which is 1,804 kilometers. And when you violate this, a lot of issues, even beyond oil, comes up. Pollution, environmental disaster, right to fishing, and all embedded in this. And the 10th Senate cannot keep quiet when there is a complaint about the invasion of the sovereignty of Nigeria. And that's why the other time I cited the Peace of Westphalia of 1648, which embodies the sovereignty of every country. And I come to invite Your Excellency to this very important motion before us, that one, the sovereignty of our country is incomplete. Two, there is a violation of the right of sea, particularly the nautical mile of engagement. And this is very fundamental because we need to look at this. So it's on this note I invite Your Excellency, Senate President, and very, very distinguished colleagues who have made fantastic, brilliant solutions on this motion to a serious engagement. Things like ad hoc committee, immediate response from the executive, advising the executive on what to do very critically, particularly in the protection of our sovereignty. I don't want to take much of your time. I align myself with those issues that are brilliantly made on the floor of this Senate today. But again, for the first time as Senate President, under your presidency at the 10th Senate, there was a report today, very historical, that there was a violation of nautical miles sovereignty of Nigeria. This can bring environmental disaster, it can affect revenue, it can cause economic problem, it can cause security damage, even among the ministry. So there is need to get Cameroon reported to the United Nations. Violation of the United Nations Convention. They are the ones violating it, not Nigeria. So that when ICJ meets again and judgment will be given under advisory notes, not even submission of counsel, then the report of the Senate will be very critical and be accepted as one of the reference points that ICJ can rule upon. We must report this to the United Nations Convention, of which we are signatory. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being brief. Distinguished Senator Jaribe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Jarigbe. I represent the good people of Cross River North Senatorial District. I rise to lend my voice to this important motion because it even affects my state. We all remember the Bakassi Peninsula ICJ judgment, which came up sometime in 2002, which affected my state. Up till now, the Cameroon gendarmes are still molesting our people and defiling our women. It calls for so much attention. I align myself with the submissions of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim on the United Nations Convention on Laws of the Sea, UNCLOS. It specifically stated that the EZ is of 200 nautical miles, and I don't see why the Cameroonians will not lead themselves to that. Apart from that, there is also the Anglo-German Treaty, which is supposed to be domesticated by each of the countries. That has not been done. There are also international laws governing the sovereignty of states and their territorial waters and biodiversity. But the Cameroon has decided to flout that. We must take necessary actions. And we call on the government to take up legal and diplomatic steps to address this issue. Thank you, Mr. Senate President.
The distinguished Senator Egbeyan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, My name is Asuko Ekwenyong, Senator representing Cross River South, and I speak for the people of Bakassi. Distinguished colleagues, the unjust ICJ judgment 23 years ago has caused untold and unimaginable hardship to the people of Cross River State, specifically the people of Bakassi. That judgment had certain conditions, such as the appropriate resettlement and reintegration of the people of Bakassi. Till today, that has not been effected. Beyond that, there were issues that arose from the ceding of Bakassi, such as the loss of oil wells from Cross River State. These are issues that have led to untold hardship once again. We have internally displaced persons in Cross River State, not just in Cross River South, in Cross River Central and parts of Cross River North. Distinguished colleagues, prior to the 23rd day of September 1987, Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State were one state. This infers that issues affecting the border or the territory of Akwa Ibom State also indeed affect Cross River State. I would like to propose that during the discussion on the prayers that have been proposed by my friend and colleague Senator Aneka Mbasi, that we expand the scope of this motion, which deals with just the mangrove islands, to disputed territories within the Cross River Akwa Ibom region and Cameroon. Thank you very much, sir.
OGD.
Thank you much, President. I'm Otumba Benga Daniel, representing Ogun East. I also want to lend my voice to the submissions of Senator Bassi and all the people who have also spoken in favor of this motion. But I also want the Senate to take note that the challenge that we have in the mangrove area environment also exists in Ogun State. As you are probably aware, Ogun State is probably the latest oil-producing state in our country on account of the massive oil reserve that is found in Ijebu Waterside, also known as Ogun Waterside Local Government. But however, in Tongeji Island, within Ikwo Local Government, is also massive oil deposits, which unfortunately we are not protecting. As we speak, the Republic of Benin are claiming parts of Tongeji Island. And I think the situation in Bakassi, in the mangrove area, is also the same within Tongeji Island in the Ukwa local government in Ogun State. I therefore want to say that the Senate should kindly add this particular area to the areas where we will call the attention of the federal government of Nigeria to do the needful. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Ned Nwoko. I represent the good people of Delta North, Delta State. Mr. President, the issues before us are historical. We know about the judgment of 2002. The problem is what judgment itself. There have been judgments between Palestinians and Israelis that were never respected. There were judgments between India and Pakistan in Kashmir that were never respected. The issue was that our government then, at that time, under President Obasanjo, hurriedly agreed to hand over Nigerian territory to Cameroon. For whatever reason, that was wrong. But I am not going to dwell in the past. May I now seek a way forward. Mr. President, the first one, we know that the English-speaking part of Cameroon, the so-called Ambazonians, have been clamoring for their independence. And all they're asking is for Nigeria to recognize them. And in return, they are prepared to give back Nigerian that was given to Cameroon. So we need to look at how we can negotiate and create problems for Cameroon by negotiating with those who are asking for independence from the Ambazonian people of Cameroon. By the way, they are the English-speaking part of Cameroon. Secondly, Mr. President, we need to review the IJ judgment as implemented. It is never too late to review those judgments. And Mr. President, I am aware that we do have some military that are capable of protecting Nigeria's integrity. What is happening, Mr. President? Why our Navy, our military, why are they not there protecting our Nigerians who are being molested and harassed? Why are they not up and doing? I know, as I said, that this is a historical matter. I know that in the past, people have said, oh, Cameroon is being backed by France. Mr. President, I am also aware that our current president, President Tinubu, is a friend of the French government. This matter should be taken up at that level, and we should be looking at how we can review the entire territorial disputes once and for all. It has come to the point where we cannot no longer just leave it to senators from Akwa Ibom or Cross River State or Ondo, whatever. We're talking about Nigeria's integrity, Nigeria's territorial integrity. So it's either we seek the military intervention alongside the same time talking with the French. Mr. President, we're not going to achieve anything leaving this matter to Ministry of Justice or Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We've gone beyond them. If the judgment of 2002 was not implemented, I'm sure Nigerians military would have still remained where they were occupying at that time. Mr. President, I do support the motion entirely. Thank you.
Senator Amos, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Amos Adama. Thank you so much for allowing me to also lend my voice to this very important motion. Mr. President, dear colleagues, I want to state that Adamawa State is also affected. 4 local governments of my senatorial district, Mubi North, Mubi South, Michigan, Madagali, are affected by the same episode. And so it is my candid request, Mr. President, that when the prayers are being considered, Adamawa State, especially Adamawa North Senatorial District, should be included on the matter. Having said that, Mr. President, I call our attention to the operations of the Nigeria Boundaries Commission. That commission, Mr. President, has become toothless and effective. They are supposed to monitor all our boundaries. They are not supposed to just concentrate on our internal boundaries, but they should also work on our international boundaries. But Mr. President, this commission is ill-equipped, they are underfunded, and they don't have the wherewithal to adequately monitor our boundaries and report same to the appropriate quarters. With this, I want us to also pay attention to that boundary commission so that they can be funded, they can be equipped and empowered, because they are the civil organization that are supposed to monitor those boundaries and also call attention of the federal government of Nigeria to encroachments and other things that our neighbors are doing. With this, Mr. President, I thank you and I make my submissions accordingly. I thank you.
Distinguished Senator Ethan Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Ethan Williams. I represent Silver Central. Mr. President, I thank the mover of this motion, and I will a little deviate from all the submission, but I align myself with them to say the right time for Nigeria to act is now. We have a president who has done and taken so many things from the blind side. The tax law, oil subsidy, and now I am also calling on our own president, who I respect enough, who has done so many things to take us also by reclaiming our territories. Cameroon is doing what they are doing because of economic reasons. They are doing it in Boki, as I speak to you, most of our territories for economic reasons. Most of our land they've taken and nothing has been done. And now, from the motion, you go through it, you discover it is because of the oil wells in that area. They are not doing anything outside the oil wells. If you go to Ecom as I speak, you see so many people who have run away from that territory to Cross River because the janitors are molesting all of them. So, Mr. President, I would say let the Senate, the committee, meet with Mr. President to take another bold step as usual for us to reclaim our territories back. No single territory of Nigeria should be taken away from us for any reason, for any judgment, when there was no plebiscite. Nothing was done, and we cannot continue like this. It is when such an action is done, you will discover that these actions will stop. If not, maybe one day, all our local government in Akwa Ibom and Cross River will be taken away by Cameroon, and nothing will happen. So, Mr. President, I call on our president to act fast, and that time to act is now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, this is one motion that has exhaustively discussed. So we'll just go straight to the prayers now. Distinguished colleagues, let me thank distinguished Senator Anek Ambassi for bringing this all-important bill. From the time given by the Senate, it shows the feeling of Nigerians towards this purported annexation of our territories and mangrove forests by a sovereign nation. Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and the illegal encroachments led all the extant judgments of the International Court of Justice and the treaties ever entered between Nigeria and Cameroon in 1913 to date. So it would be wrong for us not to take very decisive actions. There was something that Senator Ningi submitted, that even the leadership of the Senate could also take this up directly with the executive outside the investigation that we're about to carry out. So that they will also use national security apparatus to look into the issues because of the security implications to Nigeria. And part of that security implication could be that part of that territory could be used to dump toxic waste from outside the country, from outside Africa, and all this nuclear toxic waste. They will make money from it, but Nigerians will suffer the effect. So this is why we have to protect ourselves. And I'm aware that even when the ICJ decision was taken, there were third-party interests that were raised by Sao Tome and Principe and Republic of Equatorial Guinea. And that was part of why they had what they call Point X, outside which they cannot calculate their maritime territory from there. Otherwise, it would have wiped out the external boundary of Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome and Principe, and Nigeria up to Opobo, resulting in most of those areas not becoming littoral states any longer, becoming landlocked and not having access to the sea because the sea now belongs to Cameroon. So what has happened so far is a clear violation of the rulings of the International Court of Justice and even the treaties that were entered into between Nigeria and Cameroon. So I think this is worth investigating. Our colleagues may wish to go further to even discuss with our Cameroon counterparts on the implications of what they are doing, because we want to live in peace with our neighbors. As we go into the prayers, I think part of the additional prayer could be that we should engage the President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to also ginger him to take necessary steps at that level to see how this situation can be brought to an end. So I thank all of you for all your contributions, and I want to move straight into the prayer. Prayer 1, set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the illegal annexation of Nigerian mangrove islands at the Fiat Imbo, Akwa Ibom State by the Republic of Cameroon, and report with necessary recommendations as shall be directed by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yeah? Yes, amendment. Senator.
Representing Cross River South. Distinguished President, distinguished colleagues, I'd like to propose this amendment to that prayer. Therefore, the Senate resolves to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the illegal occupation of Nigerian land and water territory by the Republic of Cameroon and report.
Not illegal occupation, annexation.
Illegal annexation of Nigerian land and water territory by the Republic of Cameroon and report with necessary recommendations as shall be directed by the Senate. The amendment there is of Nigerian land and water territory.
No.
We are limiting the scope just to one particular location.
Well, there's a difference between island and land.
That's why I said land and water territory, sir.
The whole of that area is full of islands.
Yes, sir.
It's almost like an archipelago, which is a group of islands. You know, if you start from that Calabar, Fiat, it's all water. So Nigeria abuts the sea, which means territorial boundaries, but outside the territorial boundaries, as you move into the waters, you now see the land mass in terms of islands. So I think the use of islands will be better than the use of land.
Your Excellency, distinguished President, I believe an island is still a land.
We should not limit this inquiry only to the mangrove island in question, because from all indications, it's something that is going on a wider scale. So I think we can use the word territories, Nigerian territories. Nigerian territories. I think that will be broad enough to go beyond the specific mangrove island that the motion talks about. But the point that our Ekpeyon is making is valid. But if we limit it only to the mangrove island, then all the discussions and actions will now be about that. And then what of the other areas? Akwa Ibom, in the Bakassi areas, and maybe beyond.
So I thought also, what I was expecting from Senator Ayasuko was the specific reference to Fia Mbo. Mbo, yeah, is too limited, that you should have expanded it to include parts of Tom Shot and other islands that may be affected. You understand? And not just Fiadmbo. Because if you are concentrating on just an island, it's not enough. It's just maritime, Nigerian maritime territories. Nigerian maritime territories will be better. And waterways, islands, and so that's what I thought.
Your Excellency, let me take another shot at the amendment.
Please try.
Therefore, the Senate resolves to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the illegal annexation of Nigerian maritime territories and islands by the Republic of Cameroon and report back with necessary recommendations.
Senator Amos, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and dear colleagues. The amendment I want to move there is to include also territories in Adamawa State. Adamawa is not maritime.
Yes, any second. Yeah, Dixon.
Henry Serake Dixon, Bayelsa West, rise to second the amendment as moved by Senator Ekpeyon. I so second.
Set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the illegal annexation of Nigerian mangrove islands and maritime territories by the Republic of Cameroon, and with necessary recommendations and shall be directed by the Senate. Those in support of the motion as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Any other recommendation? Urge the Senate leadership immediately engage with the commander, with the President, Commander-in-Chief, on this major threat to our maritime territory by the Republic of Cameroon and report back to Nigeria. And report back to the Senate. I thought somebody was going to move that motion. Yes, Senator Ome.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor. In view of the seriousness of this threat and challenge to our territorial integrity, I want to put an additional prayer that the Senate hereby urges the President of the Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to take steps to ensure that the territorial waters, particularly the ones on friends, are protected.
Including the over 2,500 oil wells mentioned.
Including the over 560 oil wells already identified in the mangrove islands in Akwa Ibom State.
Yes.
I so move, Mr. President.
This is Senator Idiot.
Excellency, the Senate President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Idiat Oluwati Adebule. I rise to second the motion, heavily moved by Senator Ume. So moved.
Distinguished colleagues, an additional prayer has been moved by distinguished Senator Ume and seconded by distinguished Senator Idiot. Those in support of the additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let's end there. Those two are strong enough. The leadership will still engage Mr. President, whether or not it's so authorized. But Mr. President should also take the diplomatic route of engaging with his counterparts in Cameroon with a view to saving our maritime territories and our oil wells, which really means that by the actions, Cameroon would have touched the economic nerve center of Nigeria by trying to annex 1,560 oil wells. And I think this would not be in the interest of the larger population. So once again, I thank you for all your contributions and thank the people of the motion for bringing this to the fore and hope that our resolutions, when implemented, will go a long way. So to end it, let me very quickly set up ad hoc committee on annexation of the Nigerian maritime territories, islands and territories. So the distinguished Senator Ibrahim Jimo Folorunsho, Chairman Interparliamentary. Am I right? Will be chairman because it's the time for you to utilize your PhD in warfare to stop the escalation of this provocation by the Republic of Cameroon. So you will be chairman of this ad hoc committee. Another member will be distinguished Senator Adeniyi Ayodele Adegbomire, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Legal Matters, who will guide you. So even though you are 42 years at the bar, you are not yet the senior advocate of Nigeria. But I can give you senior advocate of...
I'm a CFR.
CFR. I don't know, but I can give you senior advocate of the masses. It's in addition to CFR. So my son and our chairman of Legal Matters will assist you. We will have the Senator Siraki Henry Dixon, who is very familiar with the entirety of the territory of that as member. We have another senior advocate of Nigeria, the distinguished Senator Shehu Lawan Kaka, in case the discussion dovetails into areas of Adamawa and Borno states, so that he will be in a position to defend and also have full word to add. So he will be a member. We'll have the civil senator Ipalebo Harry Banigo to bring a soothing voice of the women as the most responsible senator, very calm and very collected, a former deputy governor of the Niger Delta area, who is equally very familiar with the whole area. So she will also be in the committee. We also have the civil senator Agom Jaribe. You know, you have an interest to protect. So you'll be a member. I don't need to say more than that. And then, of course, I have the senior senator, Ekong Samson from Akwa Ibom. We have also distinguished Senator Bello, who is the chairman of Foreign Affairs Committee of the Senate, because this has something to do with the country-to-country engagement. And then, of course, the mover of the motion, who must have a lot of facts to give to the committee, to guide the committee, distinguished Senator Anekan Akpan. So you'll be there. This committee will work and revert to the Senate in 2 months. Leader of the Senate.
Point of order.
Point of order. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues. My name is Asuko Ekpeyon, Senator representing Cross River South, Commander, Order 41 and 51. The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 51. Notice shall not be dispensed with in case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, I briefed you yesterday on the motion of urgent public importance, an urgent need to address the increased and substantial increased cost of data services in Nigeria.
Come again.
Urgent need to address substantial increased cost of data services in Nigeria.
A substantial increase.
Data, cost of data.
Okay, that, well, distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senator Suko had brought this to my attention. Is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to bring this up in the next sitting? Those in support say aye. Those against. So you bring it up in our sitting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Yes, point of order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sunday Marshall Katung. I represent the people of Kaduna South Nigeria District. I'm from Kaduna State. I've come under Order 42, which is personal explanation. With the permission of Mr. President, I seek that we take the order as read, and it is an announcement on the passing away of a former senator who was in these chambers in the 3rd Assembly.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is on the transition to glory of distinguished Senator Babale Kyong Murphy, a senator of the 3rd Assembly. On behalf of the family of the distinguished Senator Babale Kyong McCarthy, I, Francis McCarthy, his son, wish to inform you of the passing of our father, grandfather, teacher, husband, and astute politician, which sadly occurred on the 4th of March 2025. The distinguished Senator Babale McCarthy served alongside President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Third Republic under the platform of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. He chaired the Committee on Internal Affairs. He was a true Democrat. He steadfastly supported the winner of the June 12 elections, Chief MKO Abiola. The senator also showed his alignment with the will of the people by representing President MKO Abiola at the Commonwealth Conference in Cyprus. During his tenure as senator representing Kaduna South Senatorial District, he vehemently opposed the execution of the Atiap elders who were arrested and convicted under highly questionable circumstances to prevent further escalation of the Zangon Kataf crisis. The burial of the distinguished senator has been scheduled for the 20th of March 2025 in his hometown, Angoma Daiki, Fadan Kaguma. Trust that this letter will inform the Senate, and the Babale family appreciates your prayers and support as we mourn our patriarch. Sincerely, Francis McCarthy, for the family. Thank you, Mr. President.
No prayer.
Mr. President, the prayer is that we observe a minute silence to honor the departed senator.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, our colleague, the Senator Sunday Marshall, came under Order 42. And for the avoidance of doubt, Order 42 is personal explanation that does not require debate. Because sometimes people do not understand the proceedings of the Senate. So your personal explanation under our Order 42 is noted, and the single prayer is also upheld. Let me, on behalf of the Senate, extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of our departed colleague who served in the Third Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Third Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We condole them, we share in their grief, and wish the family more prosperity and God's blessings, that the years he did not live may be added to his children, and no disaster befall them. And God should also give them the enablement to survive this irreparable loss. Amen. Can we please for 1 minute silence? May the soul of our late colleague, very distinguished Senator Babale Kung Markapi, rest in perfect peace. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. The first order of the day is the second reading of Nigeria Data Protection Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 650. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Thursday, 21st of November 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Nwoko Ned Munir move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. Once again, my name is Nairuko. I represent the good people of Delta State. Mr. President, this is a motion for the lead debate on the bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 to mandate the establishment of physical offices within the territorial boundaries of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by social media platforms and for related matters 2025 SB 650. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to lead this debate on a matter that is not only of national importance, but also central to Nigeria's sovereignty, economy, and technological development. Bill before us, a bill for an act to alter the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 LFN, date the establishment of physical offices within the territorial boundaries of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by social media platforms, and for related matters 2024, seeks to correct a glaring omission on how multinational social media companies engage with our country. This bill was read for the first time on the 1st of November 2024. Nigeria is not just the most populous country in Africa, we are also one of the most active when it comes to digital engagement. With over 220 million people, social media has become an essential part of our daily lives. According to the Global Works Index, as supported by Business Insider Africa, Nigerians rank first in Africa and second globally in terms of daily social media usage, spending an average of 3 hours and 46 minutes online. Platforms such as Facebook, X, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, etc., have become indispensable to millions of our people. These platforms are not just tools of communication, they are ecosystems that influence our politics, shape our public opinion, drive entrepreneurship, and provide avenues for education and entertainment. However, Mr. President, despite the enormous user base and the value generated from the Nigerian expression, these multinational corporations have no physical offices in Nigeria. This stands in sharp contrast to their presence in other countries such as United States of America, Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, India, Singapore, Australia, where they maintain offices to address regional concerns, manage content policies, and build partnerships. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the absence of physical offices for these social media giants in Nigeria presents major challenges, including 1, limited local representation. The lack of a local presence creates a disconnect between the platforms and their Nigerian user base. Resolving user complaints, addressing regulatory concerns, or managing content moderation issues specific to Nigeria often takes longer due to the geographical and cultural distances. 2, missed economic opportunities. The absence of physical offices has deprived us of numerous opportunities. Economically, it denies Nigeria the benefit of job creation in areas such as customer service, content moderation, legal compliance, and marketing. Imagine the thousands of young Nigerians who could be employed by these companies, gaining valuable skills, contributing to our economy. Technology transfer is another area where Nigeria stands to benefit immensely. Countries like China, South Korea became leaders in electronics, automobile manufacturing by fostering local partnerships with foreign firms and adapting their technologies. If these social media giants establish a local presence, Nigerian engineers, developers, tech professionals will have the opportunity to learn from some of the best minds in the world and adopt cutting-edge technologies. 3, difficulty in redressal. Legal implications of the absence are equally concerning. Without physical office in Nigeria, enforcing data protection laws, resolving disputes, safeguarding user rights becomes a complex process. This bill seeks to simplify this process by ensuring platforms are physically present to respond to the unique needs of their Nigerian users and comply with our laws. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the success stories of multilateral, multinational companies that have established a presence in Nigeria should serve as an example. Companies like MTN, Shell, Chevron, Nestle, Total have not only thrived in our market, but have also enriched our workforce through job creation, training, and partnerships. Mr. President, this bill, therefore, is not an attack on this platform. It's a call for equity and fairness. It's a demand for respect and recognition of Nigeria's status as a global leader in digital engagement. In furtherance of commitment to a structured and accountable digital space, this bill also mandates all bloggers operating in Nigeria to have an office that is verifiable in any capital cities across the country. They must keep proper record of the employees and belong to a recognized national bodies, which shall have its headquarters in Abuja. We cannot continue to have a situation where individuals operate anonymously, spreading information mostly false, without any structure or accountability. Just like traditional media houses, bloggers must be properly registered and regulated to ensure professionalism, transparency, and responsibility in their operations. Mr. President and my colleagues, I urge all to support the passage of this bill. It's a bold step towards ensuring that Nigeria's digital space is not only vibrant, but also fair and just for all stakeholders. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you.
Dismissed Senator Eze.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name remains Senator Engineer Eze Kenneth Eka. I represent the good people of Ebonyi Central Senatorial Zone. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support this very important bill. It's a bill that has been running in my mind, and I want to thank the sponsor for bringing it up. The social media space is one area that is being overlooked, but it's very important because the world is going towards the social media and the business are being done online, and attention are being tilted towards that. It may interest you, Mr. President, to note that even those companies that used to have offices in Nigeria have closed the offices, such as Google and Microsoft. They used to have the office in Nigeria. But as I speak with you today, they have all closed their office. And this has provided room for us to evade so many taxes, revenues that should be accrued to Nigeria. There are so many revenue that are being generated online today. Your businesses and so many communication are being done online. But there's no check and balance. There's no way these companies could be monitored as to pay their revenue to Nigeria. So it creates economic sabotage and leakage of revenue. So I urge this Senate to look into it seriously so that this industry, which is taking the wider space today globally, should be properly checkmated, and the adequate revenue that will accrue from it should be enjoyed by Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there anybody who is opposed to this bill going for second? No. So let me thank the mover of the motion, the mover of this second So let me thank distinguished Senator Woko. I know the bill, particularly while it was on the lead debate, was a little bit complicated. When you mention something like blockers and all that, the world has gone so digital, and ICT makes more money than the oil industry today. So much so that even with your iPad, with your laptop, the only thing you can provide would be just the address. I think they got it IP address, and and then you go into business and the major means of livelihood. But it will be good to have an address of service if somebody decides to go to court. But blockers are slightly different because they can do their business from their bedrooms, they can do their business from their cars, they can do their business from the plane, anywhere they are. So I think the best thing is for the bill to go for second reading, and after the second reading, while we are at a public hearing, a lot of people could be invited to make their inputs. I'm very certain that by the time it comes back to us for possible passage into law, it definitely would have been different and much more streamlined. But at least the general idea is there, and his job was just to provide the general principles, not necessarily to go into details. So when they go into details at a public hearing, it will be clear. I don't want the world to misunderstand us as if the Senate is trying to gag the social media. No, that is not the intention here. The intention is for tax purposes and also to have a register of. In fact, it's good for them because now with the new tax innovation, if you are not making as a company up to 50 million in a year, you are exempted from taxation. And if you are an individual trader and you don't make up to 1 million, you don't have to pay tax. Or you make 1 million or under, you don't have to pay tax. So for the purpose of tax and for the purpose of clarity of what you are doing and for record purpose, I think this is a good bill. However, I was looking to see whether there is any way it will tend to gag the freedom of expression or tend to stop the business of, in quote, bloggers. There is no such thing. So when eventually it goes to the public hearing, I'm sure we'll be able to cross the T's and dot the I's before it comes back to the Senate. So I thank you for bringing this, distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko. In the absence of any opposition, those in support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those again say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to amend the Nigeria Data Protection Act 2023 to make it mandatory for social media platforms to have physical offices within Nigeria and for other related matters 2025 HB 650 second reading.
Distinguished
of the country. You will also agree with me that the persistent carnage on our roads, occasioned by haulage of petroleum products, has made it imperative for a legislation of this nature to address and forestall future occurrences. Hence, the need for the Senate to support the expeditious passage of this bill in view of its significance and importance. Permit me to also mention that it is also a worthy immortalization of all the victims of fire explosions in Nigeria. Finally, distinguished colleagues, in compliance with Order 76, Sub 3 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, the proposed bill has no additional financial burden on the Treasury of the federal government, since the enforcement of the bill will be under existing statutory body in the country upon passage by the National Assembly. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Salih Mustafa.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Salih Mustafa, representing Kwara Central. Mr. President, I rise to support and lend my voice to the passage of this bill, to this lead debate on the Articulated Vehicle Safety and Regulation Bill 2025. Mr. President, in supporting this well thought out bill, I also want to lend my voice that in passing this bill, we should also try and look at how we can regulate the usage of our roads by the tanker and trailer drivers, that we should come up with a measure that will be able to guide them on the time frame that they will apply the roads. Either in other climes, you don't bring in heavy-duty trucks or trailers or lorries during the daytime. You only apply the roads in the midnight from a certain hours, maybe from 12 to 7 in the morning. Because sometimes these accidents that happen or that occur is because of the traffic congestion of the usage of the road at that time. So if we also look inward to also embellish this bill with a specific timing of most of these long vehicles or heavy-duty vehicles that apply this road, such that we will give them a time frame either from 11 in the night to maybe 6 a.m. in the morning. It will also help in reducing some of these accidents we are talking about. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want other distinguished colleagues to please wholeheartedly support this bill for consideration. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? So let me thank distinguished Senator Sani Babangida for bringing this up. We have also noticed the recent upsurge in the number of people who have been cremated. Let me use that word. Burnt beyond recognition and have died as a result of the falling trucks and accidents involving all these articulated vehicles. And I need to say that, yes, indeed, no sane country can allow this to continue. If you go to most of the climes, you will not know that petrol tankers move from one city to the other because they have their own time of movement. And that's when there is light traffic, not when they are struggling with commuters to go to, when commuters are going to work in the morning. Tankers are also struggling to go and supply petroleum products, and the result is chaos on the road and long queues and all that, and a lot of inconvenience and loss of man hours. So I think this bill seeks to align with international best practices and then bring Nigeria into compliance with what is reasonable, what will reduce accident, what will reduce the man hour spent on the road, and what can also increase the productivity of Nigerians. So I thank you for this. So let me put the question. Those in support that this amendment bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to make provisions for the regulation and safety of articulated vehicles in Nigeria and for other related matters 2025. SB 655, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to make provisions for the regulation and safety of articulated vehicles in Nigeria and for other related matters 2025, SB 655, second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to make provisions for the regulation and safety of articulated vehicles in Nigeria and for other related matters 2025, SB 655, second reading taken, and now committed to the Committee on Land Transportation to report back to the Senate in 6 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that we do step down the other items on the order paper to be taken on the next legislative day. I so move, Mr. President.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do step down other items on the order paper to be taken the next legislative day. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the other items on the order paper be stepped down for the next legislative day. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do now adjourn to Wednesday, 19th day of March 2024 at 11 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion moved by the Senate Leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, before I put the question, I'd like to make a final announcement. This is coming from distinguished Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe. He's inviting all senators to grace the occasion of the wedding ceremony of his son, Ikenna, and his heartthrob, Soles, on Sunday, 27th day of April, 2025. The traditional will be at 10 a.m., while the church service will be at 10 a.m., while the traditional and reception will be at 2 p.m. And this will happen at Rainbow Mercury Event Center, plot 1193A of Southern Parkway, Gariki, Area 8, Amak, in Abuja. So it will happen in Abuja on the 27th day of April. So he looks forward to seeing all of us, coming to rejoice with him and his dear child, and signed distinguished Senator Abaribe. Those in support that this Senate now stands adjourned to the 19th day of March 2023 at 11 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay. I'll take it again. Those in support that the Senate stands adjourned to 19th day of March 2025 at 11 a.m. prompt, say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate is hereby adjourned to 19th day of March 2025 at 11 a.m. prompt.